We're talking about where we are today in the world of leadership. How many leaders do you think we are going to have by the year 2030? A leader in this context is somebody who is responsible for others, somebody who is leading a team or an organization, somebody that is responsible for others. How many of those types of leaders do you think we're going to have by 2030? According to my calculations and estimates, we're going to have anywhere between 87 million and 437 million leaders on planet Earth by the year 2030. That is a lot of leaders. Now, one number is, of course, more conservative. One is a little bit less conservative. So if you were to go somewhere in the middle of those two numbers, we're looking at around 220 million leaders on planet Earth by the year 2030. That is a lot of people. If we're going to have that many leaders in positions of power, that many leaders who are responsible for others, then we better make sure that we have the right leaders in place. Unfortunately, today we just don't have enough good leaders inside of our organizations. We do not have enough good leaders inside of our organizations today. We just don't. We see this in our engagement numbers, where only 13% of employees around the world are engaged in their jobs. Most employees on planet Earth are walking around like zombies. It's no wonder that if you look up the word employee in the dictionary, you'll actually find that synonyms for the word employee include cog, servant, and slave. It's nuts. If you look up the word manager in the dictionary, you'll find that synonyms for the word manager include slave driver, boss, and my personal favorite one, zookeeper. So you can see that clearly there is a problem. I mean, if you haven't seen the movie Office Space, it's meant to be a comedic film, but a lot of people are watching it like it's some sort of a weird documentary, right? If you ever watch it with somebody, you can kind of see the reaction on their face where they're like, oh God, that's my life. So it's meant to be a comedic film, but it's really a reflection on how so many employees around the world feel inside of their organizations. And this has to stop. Research actually shows that most employees believe that they can do a better job than their leaders inside of their organizations. I mean, it's crazy stuff. And I just quickly want to read two statistics for you. Got my computer here. So the first statistic from PwC. PwC study of 75 hiring managers says it's hard to find leadership skills in new recruits. A study by Deloitte found that 87% of organizations are not effective at building global leaders. And a study by DDI found that only 14% of organizations have a strong leadership bench. And a leadership bench basically means that if all the leaders today were wiped out, do organizations have leaders on the bench who are willing to take the place of those leaders that disappeared? In other words, if we had some crazy leadership virus that took out all the leaders on planet Earth today, we don't have enough leaders, enough good leaders who are able to step in to take their place. And these numbers go on and on and on, and they are consistent virtually everywhere on planet Earth that you look. Basically, all the human indicators that we have to measure leadership are telling us that we are not doing an effective job. Literally every indicator that you look at, whether it's employee engagement or satisfaction or happiness, I mean, all these different human indicators are telling us we're moving in the wrong direction. And kind of the analogy that I like to use is, imagine for a minute that you are driving a car and all of a sudden the check engine light comes on. All of a sudden the tire pressure gauge light comes on. All of a sudden the low fuel light comes on. All of a sudden all these different indicators and lights start blinking and popping up and coming on, and you just kind of ignore all of them and you still drive in the same direction. That's basically what's happening today, except we're all sitting in the same car. So we really need to start paying attention to all these different human indicators, all these little lights that are blinking and buzzing and telling us that we're moving in the right direction, and we need to course correct and fix the way that we think about leadership. We should feel angry and frustrated and upset that this is the world we all have to live and work in, but also we can be hopeful, because not all leaders are bad. There are a lot of wonderful and amazing leaders out there. And in my book, I had the opportunity to interview 140 of them. Unfortunately, we just don't have enough of these types of leaders.